The Newsday continues here in One News Now Business. I'm Diego Castro. Here are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate fronts. President Bongbong Marcos led the launch of the eGov.ph Super App. The app aims to offer convenience to Filipinos by integrating all government online services in one platform. This launch of the app comes as the country celebrates the National Information and Communications Technology Month in a kickoff ceremony at Malacanang. The month-long celebration aims to highlight the importance of various areas in promoting digital transformation in different sectors. This includes innovation, inclusion, governance, and cybersecurity. The Philippine government hopes to attract more offshore wind power projects. Trade Secretary Fred Pascual said the Philippines is a suitable place for offshore wind investments due to its geographical position. The Board of Investments recently approved 3 offshore wind projects worth 390 billion pesos with a total capacity of 1,300 megawatts. Pascual said the country needs over 52,000 megawatts of renewable energy to achieve its target of 50% share of RE in the power generation mix by 2040. In April, President Bongbong Marcos mandated the creation of a framework for the development of local offshore wind resources. The Philippine National Railways will halt trips on the Alabang to Calamba route on July 2. The PNR says the temporary suspension will make way for the construction of the North-South Commuter Railway System or NSCR. According to the PNR, only 2 trips will be affected by the route's closure. That's one trip each at 4:38 in the morning and 7:56 in the evening, where there's about 467 commuters take each trip daily. The new NSCR system will replace the PNR street-level single-track and diesel locomotive setup. According to the Transportation Department, the elevated double-track and electrified train system will be built directly above the existing tracks. This is expected to speed up the construction by 8 months. Manufacturing in the Philippines further expanded in May as new orders and production grew at a faster clip. Based on S&P Global Philippines Manufacturing Purchasing Manager Index, the country's PMI rose to 52.2 in May from an 8-month low of 51.4 in April. May also marks the 16th straight month that the PMI stood above the 50 mark, denoting improvement in operating conditions. An economist from S&P explains that the upturn was supported by a rise in output and factory orders. The rise in the country's PMI was also brought about by firms expanding their workforce numbers for the first time in 4 months. President Marcos wants all agricultural lands in the country to undergo geo-mapping to ensure higher production and improve farmers' income. The palace says this move will establish soil maps for specific agricultural products. Geo-mapping is defined as the process of converting raw data from surveys into a geo-map that helps by providing a visualization of the location of utilities quickly and accurately. The chief executive issued the order during a meeting with the Philippine rice industry stakeholders movement. Marcos says the government is currently compiling and using maps from the Bureau of Internal Revenue and National Mapping and Resource Information Authority to solve titling issues in the sector. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. The Philippines will host the Forbes Asia Forum and Forbes Global CEO Conference in 2024. The Presidential Communications Office said President Bongbong Marcos agreed to this during a meeting on Thursday. Marcos Jr. met with executives of Forbes Media LLC, which is a global media branding and technology company. Its conferences convene global CEOs, tycoons, investors, and leaders to discuss key issues and build new partnerships. The PCO said the country's hosting of the event will attract more foreign investors to invest in the Philippines. MPIC is deferring the shareholder vote of approval for its voluntary delisting from the Philippine Stock Exchange. In a disclosure to the PSE, the company said the deferment was requested by the bidders. These are Metro Pacific Holdings, MIG Holdings, GT Capital Holdings, and MIT Pacific Infrastructure Holdings Corporation. According to the bidders, they have commissioned the preparation of a fairness opinion and valuation report for the tender offer. But they won't be able to provide a copy of the report before MPIC's annual shareholders meeting on June 6 because it is still being finalized. With this, MPIC said it will move the shareholders' vote on its voluntary delisting to a later date. Transportation Assistant Secretary Hector Villacorta says the transition of leadership at the Land Transportation Office, or LTO, was smooth as he begins serving as officer in charge of the agency. Villacorta was named caretaker of the agency after J.R. Tugade stepped down as LTO chief. According to Villacorta, he met with both Tugade and Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista yesterday. Villacorta says the LTO will push through with programs that Tugade had started and continue building from there.
Nandito kaming tatlo sa office ni ASEC JR dito sa East Avenue sa LTO. Nagkape kami and it was a cordial exchange of ideas, and we recognize the efforts of Sec JR for the innovations he started. Itutuloy naman natin yung mga naumpisa niya, and then we'll do more after that.
Villacorta says the LTO will continue to address the shortage in license plate cards. This as there are only 53,000 plastic cards left to manufacture official licenses. According to Villacorta, the LTO will prioritize Filipinos who are about to depart the country to work as drivers abroad.
Baka hindi tanggapin ng Saudi o Middle East o kung saan man yung papel, pupunta sila abroad para magtrabaho pero yung lisensya baka hindi paniwalaan eh. So we're talking to our regional directors na ang priority will be those traveling as drivers ang occupation. Yung iba naman kasi nasa Pilipinas we are going to tell the police officers to recognize the expired license cards up to October 31.
Elon Musk has reclaimed his title as the richest person in the world. That's based on Bloomberg's billionaire tally. As of June 2, Musk's net worth grew by over $2.5 billion to $195 billion over the past 24 years. Musk overtook LVMH CEO Bernard Arnault, whose net worth stands at $187 billion. The rise in Musk's wealth comes after shares of Tesla rose by 24% in May. Musk had been knocked from the top of the list by Arnault in December. This as Tesla shares fell after Musk's acquisition of Twitter. Some of the world's biggest hedge funds are offering an increasingly exotic array of incentives to hire and retain the best traders, with clients footing the bill. Last year, a senior portfolio manager was lured by a major New York fund with more than $120 million in guaranteed payouts, according to a headhunter who said he had done several deals paying over $50 million. The full report courtesy of Bloomberg.
How would you like to be offered a year off work and still get paid for it? Incentives like these are part of a growing era of tools being dangled before a limited pool of talent. Millions of dollars in guaranteed sign-on bonuses, juicier payout during your initial days of trading, or taking care of the deferred compensation that your previous employer withheld when you decided to leave. No worries at all. Your potential employer will take care of all these.
The hedge funds have become significantly large, right, with their asset base. And this capital can only be deployed with the returns that they want through top talent. And that is scarce.
The deal is if you attract the best talent, you keep growing as a firm and you can keep raking higher fees.
I think recently it's been more about the capital flowing to multi-strats. Over the past few years, it has been immense. In the last, I would say, 2 to 3 years, some were barely $1 billion to $2 billion are now reaching 10 billion or more.
Industry insiders say that this is no different from Premier League or NBA player bidding wars. Last year, for example, one portfolio manager was lured with a $120 million guaranteed payout. This is according to a headhunter who has completed several 50 million plus deals. And while this may be the top end of the spectrum, contracts worth 10 to 15 million are now increasingly getting very common for traders.
Those big packages, they're really coming with a very strong track record and successful where they are.
And the best part for the firms? Well, their clients are paying for it all.
What we have seen is with the more established players that have been around for tens of years, is the trust has been built and investors trust these managers for managing their capital and responsibly.
Fees have gone so high that investors only get about 45% of their trading profits. The rest is consumed by the hedge funds themselves and their war for talent.
We have seen less experienced talent being recruited into groups that we wouldn't have seen them otherwise being recruited 2, 3, even maybe 5 years ago. I've not seen anything like this before.
There's just never been a better time to be a trader.
And those are the top business stories of the hour. I'm Diego Castro. Join us again at 2 p.m. We are One News. All sides, all the time.